I'm Zach Gorman.
And I'm Justin Matowitz.
And I am Blake Martin.
I'm Dan Duffy, and this is Biofuel.
Okay, so today I'll be talking about biofuel. Biofuel is a fuel derived from living matter. There are 4 different types of biofuel. Ethanol. This is the most common type of biofuel. It is derived from crops like corn, sugarcane, hemp, and other crops. Methanol, also known as wood alcohol, is a liquid and easy to transport, whereas methane is a gas that must be compressed for transportation. Biodiesel is more corrosive to engine parts than standard diesel, which means engines have to be designed to take biodiesel. It burns cleaner than diesel, producing less particulate and fewer sulfur compounds. Bibutanol can run in any car that uses gasoline without the need for modification to engine components. I've got 2 basic stats for biofuel. The 2 most common types of biofuel are ethanol and biodiesel. There's a graph here that represents the world's biofuel production for 2015. Nearly 80 million tons were produced in 2015 worldwide. And as you can see, North America held almost half of the world fuel production for biofuel.
Being a renewable resource, biofuel has numerous pros. One such pro is cost. As of right now, the price of regular oil and biodiesel is about the same, but in the long run, biodiesel provides less wear and tear on engines, proving to have a longer engine life, less maintenance. The next pro would be social image. Most companies that are considered green have a better social image among customers, and some customers are more likely to shop at these places. Thirdly, biodiesel is known to have lower pollution. It reduces greenhouse gases up to 65%. And lastly, normal engines require little to no modification in order to run biodiesel fuel.
All right, so now we're going to move on to some cons about biofuels. First off, there's the ethanol debate, which is kind of a raging debate in the industry, and it's does the energy expended while producing the ethanol, is that worth the benefits of the cleaner gas? So there's the tractors that plow the fields. There's the employees that both work the fields and work to transform the crop into a fuel. All those costs and that carbon footprint associated with all of that, is it worth the cleaner burning fuel savings towards the environment? Moving on, from a fuel efficiency standpoint, biofuels are much less fuel efficient than petroleum-based oil. They burn at a lower heat, so you have to take more biofuel to move over a certain distance. So as far as ships, they're slow steaming with oil-based fuels to increase their fuel efficiency, but that can't be done with biofuels because they'd have to go so slow to reach the same amount of fuel efficiency that it wouldn't be worth it. Moving on to monoculture. So monoculture is kind of using the same crop over and over again, and so when you're producing biofuel, you have to produce corn over and over and over again in the same crop, and that deprives the soil of necessary nutrients that it needs, that it gets from rotating crops. Also, there's the use of fertilizers, which obviously could damage water supply, and it's also kind of harmful to the environment. That's kind of been a raging debate as of late. Food shortages, so this is more for developing nations. When corporations come in and they use these fields for fuel rather than food, there could be food shortages in some nations. And then also there's a price uncertainty in the future, and that's kind of derived from current technology is being employed. The current technology that's being employed to produce these crops and extract the fuel from these crops is not the most efficient, and so there's going to be a lot of investment that needs to take place, research and development investment, and that could change prices and supply in the future. And then we're going to move on to some examples about how biofuels are used. So first off, we're just going to start with this algae video. It's just one kind of biofuel that is out there, and we're just going to see how it's made.
Algae uses the sun, carbon dioxide, and nutrients to grow. In a controlled environment, algae can multiply many times each day. Selected algae can produce 50% oil and 50% biomass, which converts to fuel products. This makes algae one of the world's most valuable, sustainable, and renewable fuel resources. Algae Tech has perfected an industrial-scale technology to grow algae for fuel. Algae Tech technology is based on the growing and harvesting of this valuable algae. The McConchy Strout technology uses 40-foot shipping containers, along with a solar source of light, to grow algae rapidly and profitably in a scalable and environmentally sustainable enclosed system. The Algae Tech solution has been recognized internationally for low water use. The ability to capture waste carbon dioxide feeds from industry and power stations, and the scalable modular design. A look inside the technology shows how light, carbon dioxide, and nutrients deliver a powerful algae growth mix in the controlled, enclosed photobioreactors. The resulting algae is made up of valuable oil, sugar, and protein biomass. The algae is separated.
So now moving on to the impacts of the supply chain. The first and foremost impact would be the cost associated in the supply chain. And you're going to have a lot of reduction in costs from lower maintenance costs because biofuels reduce wear on diesel engines. So the engine will run longer. You also have pollution check costs. You won't be paying all this money to get your vehicle emission certified. And you also have possible economies of scale as more people more people start using biofuels. The price per gallon of biofuel will go down. And what this is going to do, this will lower your total landed cost of getting the good from the supplier to where it produces revenue. And another impact on the supply chain is it eliminates the dependence on foreign oil. A quote from a report from the White House says that biofuels are helping to decrease our dangerous dependence on foreign oil and are positively impacting both the economy and the environment. Another way to think of this, the same way manufacturing companies are nearshoring, companies are increasingly sourcing biofuel domestically rather than foreign oil. And also, biofuels are much more sustainable, and they are a renewable resource, so they foster a much more sustainable supply chain. So the availability of biofuels on the supply chain, this is going to impact trucks more than it would ships and airplanes, just because if you think about international logistics, there's only so many terminals that an airplane can fly internationally from, and so many ports that a ship can travel internationally from. So you only have to worry about having biofuels in those certain locations. Whereas if you're talking about trucks, then they need fuel stations, and you have to have a distribution to a greater number of fuel stations for trucks.
Arigato!
Namaste.